Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Red Raider Coaches Show. Technically, this is week 11 of playing football. This is something like week 14 on the calendar weeks. We had a couple off weeks on our schedule, and then everybody was off last week as we head into the GHSA state playoffs this week. Now, before we get to that, we need to go back and kind of recap a couple weeks ago when we went into Brantley County and finished up our regular season and the last game on our region schedule, and that was Halloween night. That was interesting. I'm not sure how many times we played football on the 31st, but either way, it worked out pretty good for us a couple weeks ago. But first of all, I want to give out a shout out and a special thanks to the Alma Methodist Church for feeding the team back on October 31st. We always appreciate the churches that volunteer. Either they bring the food or they provide the funds for us to provide it for our boys. And I know our coaches are appreciative of that. And this has been going on for years, as long as I can remember, as long as I've been involved and around the program here at the high school. I know that Mr. T-Boy Carter, shout out to him, he's been organizing that for the last many years. So thank you to T-Boy for that and all the churches throughout this year, and I know there's a ton of families and other businesses that have been feeding the team during the week. From what I understand, I don't have anything on paper. I'm not going to call out any names, but a shout out to those, and probably some of you that have helped with that or watching the show. So thank you for providing, whether it was some type of dessert or if it was an actual meal or coming and grilling burgers or providing barbecue or whatever the case may be, all throughout this season and as we continue hopefully through the playoffs as well. Oh, okay, I'm out of breath. A big intro there. So, how you doing, coaches?
Doing good. A little tired.
Yeah,
but we're getting there. Taking it a day at a time, but we're good.
Well, that's this time of the season, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's feeling that crunch. This past week I had so many times. A bunch of different people said, "Why they skip a week? Why?" But in fact, it's probably a pretty good thing for most teams to give them an opportunity to rest, whether it's mentally or even physically. Probably that's the biggest thing, because you're essentially starting a second season.
Yep.
Everybody is 0-0, but again, we'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk a little bit about the Brantley County game as we finished up our regular season. We wanted to finish strong in that region play to get that extra victory. That I think went a long ways. It helped us, number one, to keep our power ranking, and actually I think we improved maybe a spot, which helped us in the first round of the state playoffs. We'll get to that in a minute. We got our quarterback back. There was dinged up a little bit in the Worth County game a couple weeks prior, and I thought Hennessy looked really, really sharp.
Yeah.
So let's talk about from an offense. I'm not sure how y'all want to switch through this. We'll start offensively there at the Brantley County game. What's your overall thoughts on that game?
We played a very good football team, and we had a very good game, and we had a very good game plan going in, and we stuck to it, and good things happened. Brantley County, hats off to them. They got a very good football team. A lot of big kids, a lot of athletic kids. They matched up with us well, so hats off to Brantley County. But going into that game, you get a little nervous, especially the last game of the year. You want to go. We had this rough stretch. I think it was like 3 in a row we lost. You want to get back on track. So you go into that game a little nervous, kind of on your heels a little bit. But me and Coach O'Brien and the offensive staff, we put together a game plan on the Sunday before. We were confident in it. Had a great week of practice. Went out and executed, but I thought we were very well focused that week going into practice. So I felt good going into the game. Scotland come back from his injury. He looked very good. He made great pre-snap reads, post-snap reads. He was going through his progressions that we had talked to him about. Because a lot of times if you look, he wasn't throwing to his first read. He would check his first read and he would move his eyes to his second read. And a lot of that goes back to the offensive line, unbiased as I can be, but they gave him time to go through his reads. I had some guys step up at the running back position. and really carry our offense. I think we had well over 200 something yards rushing, with guys that are not comfortable playing running back. Travis Cawthorn, Jamon Ellis, Jalen got some carries. Theron Moore, Mason Johnson got some carries. So it was just all hands on deck at the running back position to get us some yards, some hard-earned yards.
Yeah.
But overall, I was very well pleased. Our guys were focused. They went out. They trusted the game plan. They executed the game plan, and put up 40 points. I think that's the most we put up all year. As an offense.
Yeah. And everything you said was spot on. We talked the week before about it being a trap game. Brantley County coming in, they were 0-9. They've struggled this year, but I saw some good players on their team. That just wasn't able to catch a stride from different reasons. I didn't watch any film from any of the other games. Obviously, we do play in a pretty tough region, and that sort of thing. But they showed some life, especially in that second quarter. I thought we dominated pretty much the first quarter. I know we come out and got a big interception, first play of the game, carried the ball down and scored, and then got a little off kilter again there in the second quarter. They had a little bit of momentum. You know how momentum works. Scored a couple times, but that was it. Second half we took over and come out and played really well. Defense was again, we've talked about being the most consistent part of our team all year, but man, offensively, I thought we looked really sharp. I know Hennessy had missed a few snaps because of his injury, and he looked the best I've seen him all season. Like you said, throwing it to a bunch of different guys, using his progressions. Very proud of our running backs. I was very glad to see Jalen getting to carry the ball. Was that the first time since maybe the scrimmage games that he's toted the ball?
I think the first time since the Telfair game.
Yeah, I mean that game was so late. I don't even remember hardly anything about it. But I know Jalen. He is wide open on defense, and he has done a great job for us. And I was excited to see him have an opportunity to tote that rock. And if I had to guess, he'll maybe have an opportunity over maybe this week, but kind of running back by committee, which worked out for us because you got a couple different dynamics there. Jalen's got a guy, he can run through you or around you. And then Ellis, he's got some speed. He can get around you. We got a little Adams kid. I think he's still learning, gaining some confidence, but he's got a lot of speed too. And then you got Travis Cawthorn who can run through you or around you as well. Kid's got a lot of speed. He gets that second level. I think too many folks gonna catch him. And so he's always a touchdown away. Every touch. So again, I thought our offense looked very solid. An offensive line did a great job protecting Scotland. For him he made some really, really crisp, really accurate throws throughout the night. I don't know. Do you know what his totals were throwing the ball specifically that night?
That night he had around 280 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yes, I knew he was over 250 because Santee had like 169 yards or something, and Scooter had a long catch and a couple others, so I knew that added to it. So just a great night offensively for the Red Raiders, and then defensively, again our defense showed up. I thought that second quarter, Brandon put a few things together. And that's what you anticipate from a team that's hungry for a win.
Yeah.
They were fighting. We knew they were. Senior night, those guys wanted to go out on a win as well, wanted to beat us.
Yeah.
So you give them credit for continuing for fighting. But our defense stepped up ultimately.
They did, and I applaud Coach Wilder and the defensive staff. I don't know how many trick plays they went over during the week. Probably every trick play known to man they went over throughout the week, but we knew they were going to come out and do something, and that's what they did the first play, try to get us. And Coach them did a very good job of preparing. So defense stepped up. The second quarter, we kind of fell off a little bit, but Coach came in at halftime, Coach Wilder, and I ain't even saying that one word. And he came in and he challenged them, and they stepped up in the second half. So really proud of those guys, and we're playing a lot of young guys.
Yes.
And so they stepped up. I was proud of how they handled the environment, how they handled the challenge, and they did a great job. So defense, they're going to play. They're going to play. That D-line going to play good. Linebackers going to make plays, and secondary, came up with some picks. So overall, defense played great. So Coach Wilder did a great job, and him and Coach Eason and Coach Brown did a great job of getting those guys ready.
Well, and it was obvious. Again, we were prepared to play mentally and physically. I think y'all had said we had a pretty good week of practice, and that always helps, definitely. I wanted one more thing on the offensive side. Everybody kind of laughs and jokes a little bit about Theron running the ball, but you see it at all levels. You see it in NCAA. You see it in NFL. When you need a few yards, they can bring a big guy in, whether to block or to tote the rock, and it's whatever it takes to get the first down, to get a touchdown.
And that's comforting too, that somebody, the size of Theron to be that athletic.
That's right.
That you can keep in your back pocket when it's a 4th and 1 and the game on the line, you got to get a yard.
That's right.
You can just say, hey, no, we're going to run it right at you. Everybody knows what you're going to do when he comes in.
Stop us. That's
We're going to run it right at you. Let's see if you can stop it. And that's always comforting as an OC or as an offensive coach, to keep in your back pocket that you have.
Yeah. So it's fun to see. And there's always some trick stuff you can run off those plays too. I don't know. What am I? I don't know X's and O's. But yeah, it's fun to see, especially again when it's successful. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be, especially at short yardage. So that's fun to watch. Well, we're going to transition from the Brantley County game. It's gone. Regular season is over, guys. And sometimes maybe is that difficult to explain that to the boys, to let them know that, hey, all that's done. A tough loss to Worth, a tough loss to Thomasville, all those tough losses, it's gone. It's everybody's 0-0 now. We're heading into Swainsboro. Another team that's had some success over the last 5 to 10 years. They've had some really, really, really good players roll through there. They still got a few hanging around. They know how to win. They played in a state championship just a few years ago. Unfortunately, I was pulling for Swainsboro because they had to play a private school, unfortunately. And in that situation, if they had to play anybody else in the state, they probably would have won a state championship if it hadn't been for Prince. But so again, that's the GHSA has gotten it right these last few years, where they have split us up, giving us making it a more level playing field. And so we're heading into Swainsboro, just about an hour and a half away or so, up on I-16 in that area. And we're going first round of the state playoffs. And we're going to see a team that I noticed. I get that Georgia High School email every morning, and I'm checking it out. And it says Swainsboro had the toughest schedule of our division, of Division I Single A. And looking at their schedule, you might see why. Yeah. But we've been tested as well. I think everybody knows. I think top to bottom, I think we're in the toughest region in the state. They had a couple of teams out. They played in their in their non-region schedule that maybe affected that high of a ranking. But nonetheless, that's where we're headed. Both teams 0-0. I think just for the record, Swainsboro finished 8-2. They had 2 region losses. One against Toome, the reigning state champion, and then Savannah Christian, who is also a very, very competitive school out of Savannah. So that's where we're at. And so let's talk about this week of preparation and the mindset. I just kind of asked a question that I didn't give you the chance to answer. Is how do you talk the boys into, like, this is brand new, this is week 1, and that mentality that we've still got everything ahead of us?
Well, the number one thing I kind of tell them is, the regular season is over with. We done went through some bumps and some bruises, some trials and tribulations, but this is the real season. This is what everybody want to play for. It's win or go home. So I told them this week we got to cherish every moment, every practice. Don't take nothing for granted. I know we're going to go play hard. Our seniors are going to lead us to go play hard. And I think the best thing I can tell them is from experience. And I tell them all the time, man, my senior year in high school, I was a number 4 seed, and I went all the way to the 4th round. And you gotta be mentally tough to do that. Okay, you're not gonna have the support at the beginning. Okay, you win a couple games, that's when all the support will come. But it's win or go home. So you gotta take advantage of every moment. Okay, this is playoff ball. Playoff ball, ain't no slouches in the playoff ball.
No, that's right.
Okay, so there's going to be some ups and downs in the game. We got to control our emotions, and we got to make plays. I told them all the time, they going to make plays, we going to make plays. Who handle the momentum? Can we hold our ground and not fold when they get a little momentum and we respond? So I'm excited to see what we're gonna do on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm ready for playoff ball. I love playoff ball. I say it all the time. The real ball starts in November.
That's right. Temperature gets a little
Yeah.
colder. You know, it's and it gets darker earlier. The lights are a little brighter at the stadium. That's just how it works out. You know, what can we expect on the defensive side of the ball from Swainsboro?
I'll touch on your mindset question real quick. I think our guys are excited. You know, they're bouncing around at practice. You know, when you're nervous or there's kind of some anxiety there, you know, you're quiet. You really don't know how to react. But our kids are bouncing around. I told my group Monday before practice, because I got a couple seniors in my group, and I just said, hey, you know, this could be your last 4 practices and your last game. And I said, but you got to do everything you can do to make sure we're back out here next Monday practicing, preparing for another opponent. I think that kind of set in, and some of my younger guys said, hey, we want to do everything we can to help these guys play some more football. But defensively for Swainsboro, they got some Saturday guys that's going to be playing at the next level. You know, you watch them on film, a lot of people have not had a lot of success running the ball. They have a great front 7. They got a D1 linebacker, their middle linebacker, number 9. He's got about every Division I offer that you can think of. Some SEC schools have offered him. He's a good football player, and I think he plays a little bit on the offensive side of the ball too. But, you know, like I said, you know, you watch the defending state champions from last year, Toombs, they kind of struggled running the ball a little bit. They had to find extensions to the run game. Whatever they can do to get 3 or 4 yards. It may not just be a traditional handoff. It might be some kind of, you know, a lot of eye candy, a lot of eye movement.
Misdirection.
Yeah, a lot of misdirection. There's ways that they can get 3 or 4 yards that act as a run. That's not just a traditional catch it, hand it off. So we got to find a way to establish a run game, and if we can't establish a run game, we got to find a way to add an extension to the run game. Let's get 3 or 4 yards. Let's have a slow, methodical drive down the field, and ultimately end with points. Because that helps not just us, that helps our defense too. You got to keep them off the field. We can't just go out, go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Keep them out there. Because as good as our defense is, if you keep a defense on the field long enough, eventually, you know, bad things can happen. But you know, we got to sustain drives. They're good. They're good at all levels. The defensive line, they're good at the linebacker position. They're good in the secondary. So it can kind of keep you up at night trying to game plan through this, trying to find any way you can to have success. But I have faith in our guys to go out. The offensive staff has put a great game plan together, I feel like. We're confident in it. So now it's just up to us to go out and execute it. So I have faith in all 11 guys, starting on the O-line to the quarterback to the receivers to the running back. And they're bought into the game plan. They trust and believe in it. Because a lot of times we ask, hey, what's your favorite, like we'll ask Scott, what's your favorite plays out of this, this, and this? We'll ask some of our running back by committee, hey, what are you more comfortable with? Are you more comfortable running outside? Are you more comfortable running inside? So we take everything into account that we can and kind of put that together leading into the game. And it's great that we've had 2 weeks to prepare for this. So we've kind of had our game plan going for about 2 weeks now. But I'm excited. Our kids are ready to get back out and compete. I love the bye week that we had, and then again, you hate the bye week because you have a game like we had against Brantley. You just want to get back out there as fast as you can, ride that momentum.
Right.
But our kids are excited. I think they've rode the momentum through the bye week, gave them some days off, did rest, get their legs back under them. They've rode that momentum into this week, and they're just excited to get back out there. So I think the bye week can help us too because they're just so excited to get back out and compete.
Well, so bottom line is, to quote Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, you're telling me I've got a chance. We got a chance, you know, and that's all we want is a chance to compete against these teams, these programs, to get Bacon County. We've been talking about it for years, you know, that win, that one win that we're capable of getting. We just got to execute and just make it happen. Will it to happen? So that's great, you know. That's, you know, number 9, I've heard his number, I don't know his name, 6'2", 225 caliber D1 type of kid that's going to roam around. Well, you got to find a way to not let the best player on their team beat you, you know, on defense and offense, obviously, as well. So I'm sure you guys we've tried our best to scheme and do some things to avoid that situation, you know. I think it's probably, our guys, and by the time they watch this show, I'm not sure if it'll matter much, but, and I'm not saying anything derogatory towards Swainsboro, I'm just saying, it's probably easier for us to prepare for this team because they're looking at Bacon County from a couple years ago. We went up, that was, playoff game, they beat us 47-0 there. And it's just Bacon County, blah, blah, blah. It's just a different mindset from their side of it, from our side of us preparing for them mentally. And that just is what it is.
Yes.
I mean, that's just at all levels, trying to prepare. They're a 12 seed, we're a 21 seed, and all the historical value. So that's good to hear that our boys are excited. They should be, for an opportunity to make history. Because that's what we're looking to do. And I'm sorry, Swainsboro, we're trying to do it against you. And it's going to happen to somebody. It might as well be this team against your team. It just is what it is. And we're hoping and praying and that our boys are going to compete at that high enough level to potentially, upset Swainsboro in this first round of the playoffs. So tell us what we're going to face offensively from Swainsboro.
They got a lot of guys that can take it to the house. Good receivers, good quarterback. They got a throwing quarterback and they got running. We call it Wildcat, so they got different backs who they're bringing in for the Wildcat. And we got a very unique way of acknowledging the different quarterbacks. But we got to stop the run. If we can stop the run, we got a chance, especially when they get in a Wildcat. We got to defend the pass. Quarterback, he can throw it. He got a good arm. He can get it to those receivers. The receivers are big. I think the average is 6 foot, maybe 180, 185.
Wow.
So we gotta play good on defense. We gotta stop the run. That's our number one priority. We stop the run, we got a chance. Gotta stop that big back. No, they gonna give it to him.
Wait now, how big is he?
Yeah, 6'2", 225.
Oh, that's the number 9?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
But they got some other quick backs that can
Yeah.
get, down here real quick. But that number 9 is a good player.
Yeah.
I think somebody sent me, all the offers that he got, and like I said,
19 D1
yeah,
officers, I
yeah,
believe,
so
was what?
he's a player, but that's what we want.
Absolutely.
That's what we want. We need to prove that we can compete with the big boys.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I'm just excited about this playoff game. I get excited about playoff ball anyway. That's when you make a name for yourself. That's when everybody notice you. That's when all
Yeah.
Bacon County. So
Right.
that's what I'm excited about. I think we're going to play well. We just got a big task at hand with this number 9.
Yeah, we do.
So, also got number 3 who can go get it at receiver, 15. So he also go to the Wildcat quarterback, and we really gotta step up in the run game and set the edge and get those safeties to run the alleys and do everything we can to slow this offense down.
Well, we go into it. We should be relaxed, and because everybody in the state, a lot of the average person in our county is like, okay, here's another playoff game we're going to travel to. We're going to get beat, come home. I mean, I'm just being honest, but because of the history, especially around the state. But we got a chance to shock the state, literally. If we beat Swainsboro, this would be one of the, if not the biggest upset of the week in all classifications, simply because of the expectations that are placed on Swainsboro. And unfortunately, the expectations placed on Bacon County. So again, we have an opportunity to make history, and why not? Why not this team? I've said it all year long. We've got some really talented players, and you said it earlier that is, we played 10 or 11 weeks here. We got some young guys. We got some young kids on this team, which is a great problem because 90% of these guys are coming back next year, the next 2 years, because they're some sophomores and a handful of freshmen. That are only going to get better, and that's exciting for Bacon County. And then when we have a wrap-up show, we'll talk about the new region stuff next week, along with the next playoff game, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll talk some about that and how that looks in the future for the next 2 years as all that stuff's been sorted out. But, well, guys, again, we're excited about the opportunity, because that's all we're wanting is just an opportunity to get that victory, to get that first win in a state playoff game. And you know, you said it earlier, you know, when you go into the playoffs, it's different under this power ranking system because it's not just the top 4 in these regions. You're getting the top 32 qualified teams in the state. And you got to be ready to go to battle. And so again, it's different with the power rankings than it is in the old South system. And I think everybody's going to a power system next year. Is that correct? All classifications. So that's going to make it even more interesting at all levels. We got just a couple more minutes here, and I told them if he could bring some stats. So we just want to hit some highlights of some things offensively and defensively. Some of the top things that most people look for. You know, interceptions and total, you know, defensive, some few defensive numbers and a few offensive numbers. If these guys would share a little bit of that with us throughout some season totals in some different areas. I know folks at home like to hear that. We don't have a stat person when we do our broadcast to keep up with the. We aren't able to give you totals at the end of the games and that sort of thing on our broadcast, which is a little disappointing. But what can you share with us a little bit here from the season?
Our D-line is D-line and linebackers. Our defense is made with those who kind of have majority of the tackles, and our D-line has played great. I'll just give you a couple numbers. Nolan Powell led the whole D-line with 62 and a half total tackles. Cam Merritt and Theron Moore both had 50. And Mason Johnson had 37. And then we go to the linebackers, well, you know, our leading tackle was Carter Chance, who had missed a couple of games.
Wow.
And he still had 97 tackles.
Wow, that's unreal.
Yeah, and then we got Caden Barnes, who's a young guy for us. He had 80. Jalen Marion had missed a couple games too. He got 68. And, you know, Henson Music stepping up as a young guy also. He got 36 tackles. And then in our secondary, Amari Riles kind of leads us with 50 tackles. And Mike Dixon and Santiago got picks. Santiago got 4 picks and Mike got 3. So we're stepping up, you know, defensive wise, and guys making plays. And when it come out, I can't even reveal it yet, but we got a lot of guys that got on the all-region team. So
wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's another. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Will that be brought out next
Well,
week?
I gotta wait. We gotta wait
till everything's over.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so we'll figure all that out and get it announced. Because at the end of the year they give all region awards and first team, second team, offense, defense, special teams, all that good stuff. So that'll be awesome to hear. We give our guys some recognition. So what we seeing on offense?
First off, I want to preface this by saying how proud I am of these guys. You know, learning a new system, it's not easy, especially in your first year. You expect to see a lot of hiccups. These guys accepted the challenge, and they did great. Scotland Hennessy, our quarterback, ended with 1,295 yards and 10 touchdowns. Maury Riles coming in to replace Scotland for his injury, ended with 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. Running backs, we had over 1,000 yards rushing total. Travis Cawthorn ended with 140 yards. Theron Moore, to give him a shout out, he had 23 yards. He had a touchdown too. Carter Chancey, Jalen Marion, 2 defensive guys. Carter ended with 15 yards. But if you think back to Telfair, that's when we needed him the most. He stepped in and said, "Coach, I'll run the ball." He got a touchdown out of that. Jalen. He's carried the ball out for us. Jamon Ellis, he ended with 66 yards on the year. I don't think that's right. We didn't up that one updated. He ended with about 170 because he had about 90 on against Brantley. Yeah, and had a touchdown. Receiving, Santiago Bazell with 44 catches, 893 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Isaiah Thomas ended with 17 catches, 247 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Maury Riles with 9 catches, 107 yards. Scooter Johnson, 6 catches, 70 yards. Zah had 3 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. Mike Dixon, 5 catches, 42 yards. DJ Peterson, our young freshman, 2 catches, 30 yards. Noah Cawthorn, 4 catches, 27 yards, and a touchdown. And we ended with 1,461 yards total receiving with 12 touchdowns.
Wow. Well, I love to hear those numbers, and I hope those numbers increase after this week, have an opportunity to continue to increase. I'd love to see Sandy get 1,000 yards. You know, and if he does, that'll go a long ways toward, if he gets I think he needed 123, 125 yards to hit that mark. That'll go a long ways to us beating Swainsboro. But we know they're going to game plan for him. You know, they're going to game plan for our guys, our dudes. And, you know, there are going to be some other dudes that have to step up, you know, that's going to. Big shout out to Amari Rouse for doing it on both sides of the ball. There's games that I don't ever see him come off the field, period. He plays offense, defense, and special teams. I'm sure there is a play he comes off and catches his breath at some point. I may be wrong. But just a big shout out to him and others that are willing to toe the line, play both sides of the ball, which we've talked over and over that we've got to. School of our size, we've got to have our best players on the field conditioned to be able to do that. And that's a mindset too. It's not just a physical thing. It's a mindset about, you know, not wanting to come off the field. Hey, coach, I want to do this. Because that's what it takes to compete at that level. And so we're proud of these guys. We're proud of our coaching staff for you know, wading through, getting through this the regular season. But again, that's water under the bridge. We're starting 0-0 tomorrow night. We're going to Swainsboro. It is 7 o'clock kick. It is a 7 o'clock kick, not a 7:30. You know, we kind of get like last year we had our first round. It was an 8 o'clock kick, which is crazy. But this is a 7 o'clock kick. So if you plan on getting there at 7:30, you're going to miss the first quarter. So make sure that if you travel, do so to be there in time. 7 o'clock kick. The parking's a little iffy over there, so you might want to get there a few minutes early so you can get in the stadium, get comfortable, watch the warm-ups, enjoy, take it all in right there in Swainsboro. Again, about an hour and a half or so driving a car. So again, we want to see you there loud and proud this first round of the state playoffs without a doubt. We are going to be allowed to go to be there. That's one of the biggest reasons that I broadcast through the NFHS. They have a contractual agreement specifically for the playoffs. These teams, you know, like a couple weeks ago, Brantley had the prerogative that said that we can't broadcast live. Waynesboro has no choice. Now, they may put us in the behind the end zone of the west end zone, I don't know. But we will be live, broadcasting live from Swainsboro tomorrow night, Friday night. So if you can't make the trip, you can watch it live, and we encourage you to do it. But we want you to be want you to be in the stands so we can hear your voices. The kids enjoy that. The band's going to be there. They're going to perform at halftime. Obviously, the cheerleaders. This is a big part of this program that makes it a success. So again, we want to thank the fans that showed up and showed out this season at the home games. Man, there wasn't a home game that I was disappointed in the crowd. There have been in the past, and I wasn't disappointed at any home game. And really and truly at most of the away games. I know we had some drives. Worth was probably the longest, but we still had fans in the stands, and just super proud of the support that Red Raiders get. And I know these coaches appreciate it, and absolutely the kids do. So again, any final thoughts as we're heading into this first week of the playoffs?
Well, you know, we just, like I said, I love playoff ball. I'm ready for it. I hope our fans come excited, bring the energy. We're going to need it, especially on the road. I think our kids look forward to that. You know, when our fans bring the energy, they pick up their energy. But I'm trying to hold it in, but I'm very, very excited about this playoff time.
Coach?
Just piggyback on what he said, I'm excited. There's nothing like playoff football in South Georgia. So
Yeah.
ready to get out there.
That's the truth. Even Kirby Smart says that. Nothing like high school football in Georgia. So again, we encourage you to come out and support Red Raiders tomorrow night, first round of the GHSA state playoffs. So on behalf of myself, Coach Williams, Braden, I thought about it. That's an inside joke. I had to think. You get confused once in a while by a dumb mistake somebody else made. But anywho, thank you for joining us again on this week's edition of the Red Raider Coaches Show. Go Raiders.